Welcome to a new edition of Filmtalks here from Kulturhuset in Tromsø. Filmtalks is a place where we talk to some of the directors, visiting directors, about their films, and hopefully they have a film on the program as well. My name is Tor Joachim Haga. I am a Norwegian film journalist from Montages. And my guest today is the Icelandic director. I have to pronounce this right. Erling.
Ja, Erlingsson.
Son?
Ja.
Erlingsson?
Son
Ja.
of Erling. Ja.
Benedikt Erlingsson.
Benedikt.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Do it beautifully, Thor.
Thank you.
Thor, we say. Ja.
So you're here with a film called Of Horses and Men.
Ja.
But before we get to the film, I wanted to ask you about about yourself. Maybe you could say something about your background, because this is your first feature film, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, I could say I'm a show businessman. I work in show business. I am educated as an actor, and then director in theater. And I've been acting and directing, both theater and acting in film and TV in Iceland and a little bit abroad. And in essence, you can say just I'm a storyteller, like all showbiz people are, in a way.
Yeah.
But as in my example, I come from a family of storytellers. My parents were also storytellers, and grandfather, and I had even a grand uncle on the 18th century that was a professional storyteller, and he, it was not a good time to be a storyteller, or in showbiz at that time in the country of Iceland. But he found a way. He told stories for brennivin.
For brennivin?
Yeah, but he did not drink the brennivin.
Okay.
He just collected brennivin and then he sold it to others.
All right.
So his condition was, I will tell you a story, but give me brennivin. And then he just collected the brennivin. And so this is, of course, the essence of all artists and storytellers. How do you make a story how do you make food out of your story?
Exactly, yeah.
How do you eat your ideas?
Yeah. Yeah, I think more filmmakers should do that. But this particular film, as far as I know, actually had some financing problems to get it off the ground. Is this right?
All films, I think, have a financial problem.
Yeah.
But this one, of course, it was my first film. So, I'm a beginner, I'm a first-time director, and I come from theater, and there's an attitude, in my country to theater directors,
Yeah.
They have forgot that Orson Welles came also from theater,
Exactly.
and Ingmar Bergman,
Exactly.
and Woody Allen was a stand-up artist, and Fellini,
Yeah.
They think that you have to make filmmakers in film school.
Yeah.
But I think theater could be a good school. If you are a good theater director, you are a good possibility to be a filmmaker. We are working with the same material, the same essence. But of course, this was a hard birth, you can say. I think it was my biggest challenge, in a way, to finance this film. And it happened with great people, investors, that happens to be, my friends. I thought I was always looking for the rich guy with the cigar, but in the end it was just, a closer circle of people that surprised me with means, artists, and old class comrades that, that had a little bit money to put into it. And at that time I started working this work 2008, and every bank in Iceland was bankrupt, and the people that had money, they had escaped with their money out of the country, and they were also criminals, so you could not ask for their dirty money. So this was it was my biggest challenge, I think, financing the film.
Yeah, is there an Icelandic film scene at the moment, or? Because I'm not totally familiar with Icelandic films.
No. Is there Icelandic film scene?
Yeah, how is the production of films in Iceland?
We are making like 5 to 7 films, feature films every year. And then a lot of documentaries and short films. And yes, but the Icelandic Film Fund has been cut down now 42%. Yeah. The last government. So we are in a crisis mood. So maybe I will become Norwegian citizen. Maybe it will help my financing.
Well, we are also cutting down on
finances. I can come home again, sail home to Norway.
Exactly. Well, since you're such a good storyteller, and since you come from a background of storytellers, maybe you could sort of sum up what this film is of horses and men?
Well, I don't want to.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to tell you. You know, it should be. You know, I don't want to take it. But well, of course, I can give you some phrases. You know, it's an attempt. This film for me, it's an attempt to give a perspective of us humans. It's a film about people in essence, and then primitive forces inside of us, and yeah, I'm trying to tell it from a perspective of the horse, you know, and I've been very interested in this you know, animalistic, you know, this Darwin perspective of humans, you know. It says, you know, when Darwin came with his theory about evolution, you know, he showed, you know, his fellow men their face in a mirror. And they did not like what they saw.
Exactly,
you know? So they shouted at him. You know? They are still shouting, you know, somewhere. So it's in that kind of theme. They call it a black comedy in America. You know, I think it's just Nordic, you know.
Nordic kind of comedy.
Brutal Nordic country romance. With a lot of death, sex, and happy end.
Yeah, wow. What else do you need?
Yes, exactly.
No, but there seems to be a sort of like three main elements to the film. It is the people, and it is the horses, and it is, of course, Iceland and nature, because that seems to almost be a character in itself. Or I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, it happens to be there, the landscape. I could not erase it, you know. But believe me, I want to sometimes, because I think it's like with all nature resources, it is. The nature resources are dangerous. I think Norway is the only country, I think, in the world that has, you know, really, you know, umgoes with its nature resources, because usually it destroys the society, you know. And the landscape, for me, it has destroyed Icelandic filmmaking in a way, because it has been so much, you know, focused on the landscape. You cannot have a love scene without moving the scene to a cliff, you know,
exactly,
where there's you know,
dramatic.
lot of dramatic scenes. So, but you know, the landscape is there and it is beautiful and it heightens the platform, and it's important, of course, for the film. And it's our, you know, I make a poem. We are also making, me and my cinema photographer Bergsteinn Björgúlfsson or Besti, we are trying to make poem in a way, in pictures.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you talk about these primal forces, because the way you use horses in your film, it's for different kind of purposes. You know, in classic westerns, you use horses for transportation and for companionship. But in your film, they can also be used for obtaining
social status.
Yeah, as well, and for love, and for even for survival. And even I'm not going to give away any
even
details.
A bad horse can save a human being.
Exactly.
You know, and the horses are used much. You know, there's in this community with horse people. You know, I think it's everywhere. It's a universal. The horse gives you identity and status. It's like your car.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, or your house. You know, things gives people, you know, identity and self-worth, and horses is very important in that sense. You have a good horse, and you know you are a good man, and you have a high status. You can even have a economically low status, be a poor, but you have a good horse, and that heightens you up. You know, and this in Iceland it's not so expensive to have horses, so it's very common. So it's a playing card in our social game of status. You know,
but still, it's a matter of using a horse and then maybe disposing of it. It's a matter of consumer, I don't know, approach to horses, it seems to me.
Yeah, there is a contrast there, the consumer approach and then the loving approach.
Exactly,
the nærhet. The closeness that it can be between people and animals and horses. And it's a strange paradox, because we love horses, and you know they are part of our family. We name even our children after them, or you know they're really, you know, protagonists maybe in this story, or antagonists in our lives, but you know at the same time we eat them.
Exactly.
You know,
and
we sell them. And I think sometimes in the old slave society it was maybe like this with the slaves. I like my slave, I love my slave, but I have to kill him, or I have to sell him. You know, It's
So even for humans,
It's
it
for
has the
human.
same. Yes, it has that kind of story. And maybe that's why you have some great striking images in the film, where you see close-ups of the horses, close-ups of the humans, especially the eyes, and you can see humans reflected in horses' eyes, and horses, I think, reflected in human eyes.
Yes.
That seems to be sort of a...
That's a theme between,
Yeah.
trying to capture this closeness and also the perspective of the horse.
But in many films you often see horses being treated like humans. They try to make them behave like humans. It's called anthropomorphization, if you know that word. And how did you relate to that? Did you sort of try to make the horses have human emotions through your film, or was that?
No, it's we are doing it ourselves in the brain. It's just this is of course editing, in a way. But it is, we humanize. We see it in cartoons. We make animals like humans, and but it's and then it's. But what I think is interesting that we use the animal as a negative word. Somebody is like an animal. That it means he's cruel. Yeah. But for me, we could see the beauty of the word animal. We could embrace the animal and smile to it. And see, wow, beautiful animal Homo sapiens is. How complicated, how dangerous, how unstable. This strange animal that we are. And to say that, I of course needed another animal to reflect on it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually about horses mirroring
men,
human behavior in a way. Yeah. Of course, it's sort of a tabloid question to ask, but I still have to do it. A question that you receive a lot of times: how was it like working with the horses? Because there are many sort of extreme scenes with horses.
I had extremely good team. I had my cinema photographer, Besti, that is also a horseman, and it was of course all about breaking down our work. And then I had this beautiful team of horse trainers and horse whisperers, and we were finding out a lot of things on our way, And the horses were in fact the easiest bit, because it of course demanded a lot of preparation. And I was congratulating the horse all the time, but never saying anything with the actors.
Exactly.
My producers were very happy because the horses are not in the union. And so you don't have to worry about their payments. And then you can eat them afterwards. They were not good,
you can do that.
That we did not, of course.
And you actually have the horses credited in the opening as well.
Yeah, they are important for me. I have a very personal relationship with horses, and I think horses are very similar to. They have the elements, and they are the stars of the film. And of course, they are credited. They are the stars. So. They are credited in the beginning and the end, and as they should.
Exactly. If we sort of move beyond the concrete story, I read a quote from you in IndieWire magazine where you say that by being local, you can become global.
Yes.
Can you say something what you mean about that in relation to this film?
Yeah, I think, of course, in a way. For other cultures, this film could be a little bit like a film about the Indians, made by the Indians. You say you don't understand everything, but then there is the universal thing, and that is fascinating. And when you have the universal thing in the local element, the film can be a window into another world. So then you have the global thing. I think we have to believe in the local thing. You can be local and yet be global. I think. Then you hit something that is human. And
so basic.
The base.
Yeah.
And you have to dare to be it. It's fascinating. Art house films are about that,
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's part of the charm. And like so many films on this festival, they are really opening a window into another world. And then by doing that, they are bringing us together. So it's. Though of course it's expensive for environment, flying us all this way. Yeah. It's also good for humankind.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Now the film has been shown here at the festival.
Yeah.
First of all, what do you think about the festival, Tromsø?
I think it's a beautiful festival and great example of, I don't believe, I've never been so far north,
Okay.
And usually, everybody, say, you're from Iceland, wow, isn't it cold? And, I say, yeah, it's dark in the winter and then the sun, all that. It's nothing, This is the real stuff, And I come here and it's like, there's not sun yet. So I think this place is fascinating and also, and that you can have been able to make so prestigious and important film festival here, so near to the North Pole. I think it's unique in a way. And it has an old story, and I see the program, I think it's very beautiful and very diverse and good.
So this is also maybe about making a local thing global, about the stories.
You're a good example of how local become a global.
Exactly.
Look at Tromsø.
So the last question is what are the plans now? Of course, this film has to run its course. Do you have anything else that you're working on? Exciting things?
Yes, I'm thinking a lot, and I'm trying to work on something if I get some peace from these festivals. But yes, they're ongoing projects, but it's a difficult time in Iceland. We've been cut down 42%, and I think I have to kill some politicians first, and then, well, not, metaphor speaking, and then maybe I can make a film. So it will be my new obstacle, of course. Now we start the run for the money, and then we can run for art.
Exactly. Yeah, the same problem in Norway in many ways. Almost
the same. Yes.
Okay, I wish you the best of luck with the film, and thank you for having a few words with us.
Thank you, Thor.
Thank you. We'll be back tomorrow with the Kurdish director Hussein Tabak. Until then, thank you for watching, thank you to the audience, and I'll see you.